Hi, Misha here.
Yeah, this is Jay.
And did a kind of a pretty long introduction video on the Kalashnikov-USA KR-103 when it came out, talking about the history, doing some comparisons. But that was just my take. So I thought for this video we would let Jay hasn't even seen this out of the box yet, so we'll let him unbox it and get his initial feelings. He has owned both. You owned a Vepr. You've messed with Segas, so yeah, you know the deal.
Yep. And the KR103 is a clone of the AK103, and it's which Saiga model is it copying?
Pretty much the SGL 21.
Okay.
Specifically the fixed stocked version. So yeah.
AK-74 style brake. So is this 24mm thread?
Yep.
Is that gonna make the commercial market poo-poo on it because it's 24mm threads?
I don't know. On the other hand, it might make suppressor use easier. By the way, one thing pointed out in the first video was the fact that I mentioned the mag wasn't steel lugged, and we posted it, but apparently the card here is this one, right?
Yeah.
That says that, yeah, steel ones are coming.
Steel lug version later.
Manual. It comes with this chamber flag. Here's the thing protector. And this is what the mag came in, so it wasn't just a bare bones mag. And move this out of the way. So we have a little room here.
So first thought is the finish is really smooth and even on it. Yeah, actually looks really nice in my opinion. Looks like a really nicely put together gun overall. The bolt carrier is pretty smooth as well. A lot of times even on Russian AKs, factory new Russian AKs, that bolt travel will be pretty gritty. And this is not at all. It's very smooth.
Yeah, that hasn't been worked much and hasn't been fired at all, so it's, I don't know.
It almost feels like a milled gun by how smooth it is, but that's also partially because the finish is just really smooth and even. That's first thought is fit and finish seems really good. The trigger is not good to me. That first pull is very tough. That kind of rolling AK brake is not very light. It kind of stacks the tension. I'm not crazy about that. I do like the way it feels though. I mean, I like the bow shape quite a lot. Pretty nice wide shelf on the selector. I just can't believe how smooth the finish is on it. Very smooth, very even. One thing that I noticed right out of the box, you probably saw me messing with it. Upper hand guard's loose.
Mm-hmm.
Walks back and forth.
That was one thing I pointed out too in mine was that, and this is something that's been pointed out in a lot of KP and KR9 videos. They're not that they're breaking, but they do see you can squeeze it. It's a little malleable.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, this will rotate almost all the way around.
Yeah,
I'm used to having to put a strap wrench on my upper hand guards to get them to twist off, and that I think you could really easily do with hand pressure.
I'm sure, yeah, because I don't think it has the little spacer, which isn't always necessary, the little spring, but yeah.
It should have, honestly.
I'm not sure if it has a spot for it. We'll look at that in a minute.
Yep. Good. That'd be good info to have. It'd be an improvement, I would say.
Yeah, but I agree. I wasn't a giant fan of especially the upper hand guard. However, the buttstock seems fine.
Well, I don't see any. I mean, there's a bit of a gap between the stock and the receiver. But
that's actually intentional.
Really?
On if you look on most of your military AKs, that's so the recoil, the vibration from the receiver doesn't transfer directly to the edge of a stock.
That makes sense.
It really dates back to the days of wood, because you could chip your wood there. Yeah, there's actually supposed to be a small little gap there.
Yeah, but it's snug. I mean, there's no...
Oh, yeah, no, there's no, yeah.
issues there. Yeah, I'm really impressed with the finish is really nice, honestly.
What about mag insertion, mag catch stuff?
Easy in, easy out. No issues there.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't hold up on the hammer at all.
No, and the muzzle brake doesn't have a ton of play, I can tell.
No, that was one of the first things I checked. Mm-hmm. It's about what you would expect. The clean rod was kind of walked forward a little bit. But yeah, I don't know. Seems solid to me. I mean, I've been wrong before on out of the box impressions, but
sure,
seems solid and smooth.
Well, let's let you get behind the camera, and I'll take it apart, and we'll look on the inside in front of the camera.
Curious to see what the internals look like on it.
Yeah, let's get around to that. Alrighty, me here, Jay's behind the camera so we can focus. Here we go. Clear, good. The mags. So, there's says a little bit of play, but I think it's pretty good on the dust cover, top cover. Take it off. Look inside here, nothing to really see, but pretty normal gauge steel. Here's this. Notice it has the kind of traditional style takedown with the lip on it, not the newer spring-loaded, which is fine. That's what Sega's had too. And it is the wire type. Nothing real special one way or the other with the recoil. We'll look at this in just a second. Actually wanted to look at the handguard. I already loosened it off camera. It was tight, but not crazy, so let's see if I can get this off easily enough. There we go. So the gas tube fits tight, but not crazy. It does have the spring behind here, like on a Sega, but it does not have the spacer in here, which, to be fair, a lot of polymer handguards don't, but yeah, this is just on. It does kind of meet resistance once you rotate it a little far, but yeah, you can easily. But the thing is, there's not even really a place for the spring, which again, a lot of the polymers may not have. Looking in the lower handguard, there is a heat shield. Here's our barrel. Look in our gas block here.
What is that?
What is what?
Nothing.
It's a bullet.
It's a gremlin in there.
Before or after he ate after midnight. Handguard retainer is solid. This recess is fine. It's not loose. Yeah, the lower handguard's not loose. It's
I was
just
just say, is there any play on that lower handguard?
no, up front or side now. And there's no play on the retainer, and the lever is firmly down, so this is okay. It's still made out of kind of that same flexi plastic, but it does have the heat shield, so I think that's helping a lot, giving it some metal. See how easily this goes back on. When you have these springs in the back, which they added.
You said that's a holdover from the Saiga days, right?
The spring in the back?
Yeah.
They added it with the AK-74 to tighten up. Yeah, slick table. When I'm going to get like a rubber coating here. I'll get it on here. So it's obviously quite tight. If I I can do it.
Yeah, spring is catching up.
Yeah, let me see if I can get it on. Now, typically what you do, you push these down and then back, but this one's being ornery. Now, it might be my thing here. So that's definitely tight, folks. Push it forward there a bit. There we go. Now, typically on a import AK, you'll push this back and it'll kind of lock in. It doesn't resist as early on like that. It'll go down and then to fully seat it. So yeah, there's the lever. I can push it down by hand. So your gas tube's nice and tight. It's just the handguard upper. Yeah. So now let's look inside here. Here's our feed ramp. It might look a little different from a Sega because they don't have to import them without it and install it. Notice it does have the third flat rivet here. That comes on this side out here for the bolt to interface with. That's one of the changes for the AK100 series. Pretty standard fixed ejector. The trigger group here is pretty much a copy of the Russian semi-auto. Flip it around here where I can release it. Notice how it has this little piece here. Here's our hammer. We have the newer style kind of forked rear trunnion that was introduced with the 74. And then we have our two screws holding our stock on, appropriately flatheads, and no reinforcing plate above the pistol grip because this is not a folding gun. And notice the retainer is the ones we like, the plate style. It's not a shepherd's crook, not a wire. I like that. Molot does that with their semi-autos, but Ishmash Kalashnikov concern does not, at least did not by the time of the sanctions.
So if you really want authentic, you need to put a shepherd's hook back in.
Yeah, put a crappy one, and not like the one that goes around the safety with the really annoying paper clip kind. Notice down here where our stamps are, we do have the XY stamp here. Pretty standard scope rail. And how's our rear sight marked?
It's just one. It's 100. It's 1 to 10.
Gotcha. What's the battle setting?
It shows a P.
P. So that's correct as far as it goes. Yeah. That's neat. What about our bolt group? Here it is. So looking at it here, we have unfluted piston head, which is correct. The wiggle is decidedly correct. It's not fixed in place. I know this is a little bit of kind of machining lining here on the top. I've seen that on some military surplus carriers as well. It's just manufacturing. It actually does have the tail here on the bottom. This is often machined off of imports. It's a trip. Here's the back. This side looks pretty standard. Get our bolt out here. It's a little sticky. There we go. Here's the channel. It rides in. Now, here's our bolt. A lot of people have made something out of the fact that these are billet, not milled, forged. The thing is, billet is actually a type of milling, so I'm not sure how much that does or does not matter. Pretty thin stem. Now notice it has a floating firing pin, not spring loaded. Floating seems to be fine for 7.62x39, both based on the cartridge and the fact that we're mostly using imported ammo, but most of your Segas, the imported, did have the, how's if I do it right, huh guys? Most of your Segas imported did have the spring-loaded pin. But it was really adopted for 5.45 and 5.56, especially for the civilian market. Seems to fit fine. Just one small difference there with having that firing pin. Yeah, putting it back in, very smooth, no real resistance at all.
Oh, wait, before you put that back in,
sure.
I'll show the bottom of the bolt carrier.
The bottom again?
Yeah.
No problem, no.
I'll show it a little closer, just so you can kind of see some more of the detail. The finish is just very even on it. It's really smooth looking. So it seems pretty well machined to me.
Mm-hmm.
Here you go.
Yeah, I mean, it travels just fine, and not really a problem. It is more of a matte finish than a lot of your Segas. And one of the complaints people had with the SGLs when they were around was sometimes the paint finish would come off, which is kind of what paint does. So everything goes back in well. See how this is to put on. Yeah,
Oh, nice.
yeah, it went on real well. It looks like it's, I'm not sure. Yeah, it's sticking out fine. But yeah, that fits with remarkably no play. Safety is reasonably tight in both positions, but not hard to actuate. Yeah, the first stage is just kind of there. The brake is clean, but yeah, of course, trigger groups can be changed out, and they make it even easier. They make it even easier because of the FCG plate. Yeah, mag goes in. With this mag here, the one it comes with, polymer, there is no play, but it does insert very easily. Mag catch goes all the way home. Let's see, we can look at the bottom rivets here. They seem domed very well. And the side rivet here, here. A little bit of dimpling there, but nothing worse than I've ever seen on a Sega. On this side, these rivets look good. Nice magwell dimple. And it has a lot of the other small features like the double hump around the trigger pin here that you'd find on the Sega. The correct looking scope rail. Cleaning rod has a little play because it just is held in by the muzzle brake. Even have a mark on our block here like an original. Front sight does not have the lightning cuts as it should. I mean, it should not have them on this type anyway, so that's right. And again, our muzzle brake is quite close. Let's see if I can get it off here and show you. So it is the long collar style. point this at you. You should definitely know after this it's unloaded. And as far as our muzzle brake, there's the inside. Pretty basic, just muzzle brake. But it is marked on the top, caliber, which is what you see on a lot of the Russians, so that's nice. And while it's not exactly like the Russian style, which is a two-piece, it mimics it very well. And again, there's so many variations of the muzzle brake that I'm not even going to swear 100%. The AK103 has evolved over time, so it could be. And as we talked about in the first video, while it should be a standard AK103, does have a folding stock. They do definitely offer a version with a fixed stock, and it has been purchased by police, civilians, and maybe even a handful of military for training. So having a fixed stock on this is not wholly incorrect, but I think most people would like to see the folder. But again, with this stock, you can put all kinds of different stocks on because you have the rear trunnion that's standard. If you did have the 100 series folder, you're pretty much either going to use the solid body folder or the original triangle folder. And keep in mind, if they did it, it would be 5.5 millimeter, not 4.5. So the folding stock gun will be great if that's the stock you want, but if not, it's going to make it changing it out a little more difficult. So yeah, what do you think? That we'd have Jay here today with the ammo shortage. Range time has become a little problematic. Plus, there were other places like AK Operators Union that are doing 5K tests. That's not really our strength, but you got my first impression. Now you also have Jay's, and you have a closer look. And this was a gun we just purchased and had come in the store, so it's not a T&E or something that was pre-production or sent to us. So this should be pretty much like what they're shipping, because it's just one they shipped in to the FFL. So yeah, let us know what you think, your experiences if you own one, or if you like, feel free to link to videos doing torture tests or whatever, and it'd be great to have them below. And if you'd like to know more about just AKs, we have quite a big playlist featuring Segas, Vepers, even various Russian kit builds. So with that, this is Misha.
And this is Jake.
And if you could, like, share, subscribe, and if you'd like to help support us, check out the link to our Patreon. With that, we will both catch you very soon next time.